Hello and welcome to another Flipping the Script. I'm Paul O'Sullivan. I am the CEO at Skellig Automation, and joining me today is one of our senior automation engineers, Darlington Ogundu. Darlington, welcome. Thanks for talking
Thanks,
to me
Paul.
today. I'm going to ask you three questions, and then feel free, if you have one, you can ask me a question at the end. But before we get into that, can you just say a little bit about yourself and what your background is?
Yes. So my name is Darlington Ogundu, and I'm a senior automation engineer and also project manager here at Skellig. I've been with Skellig for about 3 years, and my background is in electrical engineering.
All right, so diving straight in, Darlington, what kind of impact do you want to make on the world with your career in life sciences? I really want to get to the heart of what makes an engineer tick and what makes people tick that work in this industry.
If I could pick one thing, it would be to improve the availability of treatments for those who need them. And as we're all aware, a lot of pharmaceutical and biotech companies are continuously looking for ways to improve their manufacturing processes. And so as an automation engineer, I can contribute to this by creating scalable designs that are intuitive to use, pretty much delivering and creating value for clients. And as a project manager, I can do this by supporting project teams, creating environments that promote collaboration over unhealthy competition, and by removing obstacles so engineers can just focus on creating great solutions. Those are two things I could do right now at Skellig that would eventually propagate and hopefully contribute to making treatments more available to people.
I love that answer. It's a great answer. It is really hard, though, to affect change, and it's an everyday battle. But I love that answer because it speaks to the little things that you can do that over time compound and can really move the needle, because manufacturing is expensive, and if projects are perceived as very costly and time consuming, then it does it it does inhibit the availability of treatments. You can boil it down to, if we do our part well, then we can move the needle. Do you feel like the industry gives you permission to affect change?
I would say no, I don't think so. But I'd like to add to that by saying that change isn't often obtained by waiting for permission, but it's obtained by taking action, focusing on what's within your control, and doing what you can today. You just need to start somewhere and work towards the change that you have in mind. Our industry consists of different people with different backgrounds, different perspectives. And so I think it's up to us to identify people that whose values align with ours and collaborate with them to create the change that we want to see. If we're bringing us back to how we can relate with this, I think this is what joining the right company is all about. And that's what we're trying to accomplish here at Skellig.
Change, especially, is hard in a regulated industry like the life sciences industry, for sure. I love that answer. Good man. That's excellent.
Yeah, thank you.
The last question I want to ask you is, if you could wave a magic wand and change one thing about the industry, what would it be?
I would make personalized treatments more accessible and affordable. Because right now we're seeing advancements in immunotherapy, gene
Oh,
therapy, and
yeah.
a lot of exciting technologies. However, the manufacturing processes are just really complex. They're very expensive and also very difficult to scale. So it'd be amazing to somehow resolve these challenges, perhaps by creating innovative, scalable manufacturing processes that would eventually meet the growing demand. And also, while we're at it, reduce costs, both on the manufacturing and development side, but also reduce costs for people that need the treatment as well. But again, just to highlight, I'm mentioning this here because it's very difficult to do. But if I had a magic wand, this is something I would change.
And that's very aligned with my own answer on this as well. Like, that's exactly spot on. I think about it a lot. The movement of data, these systems that come together, and we make, a train of equipment out of it, but to build something coherent that, makes sense as a collective of disparate pieces of equipment that can then be deeply understood, and you can improve yields and learn how to miniaturize it, learn how to get it closer to the patient. It is an exciting time in cell and gene therapy, and especially in personalized medicine. But yeah, those challenges are pretty significant right now because
They
it's
are.
all about, you know, it's not close to the patient. It's not in the hospital. It's not next to the person that you're treating. And it's obviously very, very costly. And it breaks my heart when I hear the news stories about the cost of the medication. It's a huge pity because there's these wonderful scientists that are inventing these cures. There's these companies that have supported the invention of the cures, and they're trying to get their money back or whatever, and stay afloat as a company. And sometimes the pool of the patient population is really small, and then that small population is even further reduced unless you have millions of dollars that you can pay to
Exactly.
fix. I do think manufacturing has a role in it, because if we can help mature and advance towards making that more accessible by miniaturizing it, or making a better process setup that has more true flexibility, then you know you can get further down the road. But it's quite the challenge right now. Very good,
It
man.
is. It is a big challenge. It's a wish, and I hope as we innovate and we create new solutions, we will get there someday.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope we get to play a part in it, because it's not just the equipment. There's a lot to mature, data wise, sharing of information wise. Um,
Yes.
Working with the OEMs and the fabricators of the equipment. There's a lot of challenges, but something new, a new model is needed. I firmly believe something different has to happen. Otherwise, change is going to be too slow.
You had mentioned just the cost, and these companies, obviously they need to make profit. They need to get the money they invested in development process and manufacturing back. But another challenge there that came to mind is if these treatments are very amazing, they're really great, and they're like a single treatment and you get a cure out of them, then as a company, you don't stand to make a lot of money, right? You don't have that ongoing revenue. So you spend a lot of money developing this cure. People get it one time and that's it. So you also mentioned you have a very small percentage of the population that might have a specific illness. And so once these people receive the treatment, that's it. So you can't make money on, from that cure. So on one side, we want companies to be profitable because that gives that incentive to invest in creating solutions or creating cures. But on the other hand, we want it to be accessible to patients that need them, especially you have people out there that have been sick for a very long time and they're desperately waiting for new cures to show up. And so we want people that have been waiting for a long time to have access to the cures as soon as possible. So definitely it's all about balance. And if I had a magic wand, that's something that I would change, for both parties. So
Good man.
yeah.
No, good man. That's excellent, because sometimes I talk to engineers. They're like, "Well, geez, like we're just part of this project, and if we can get to next Tuesday delivering our part, what can we do to really affect things?" And you can look at it that way, and you can say, "Well, okay, we've such a small part to play, but there is real potential. I don't know the answer. I wish I did. It's certainly a worthy pursuit, and as engineers, you can't help but, like, it's a lovely, difficult, meaty challenge to
It
play a
is,
part
yes.
in. So, no, that's cool. Those are my three questions. If you have a question for me, I'm happy to take a shot at it.
Yeah, I do have a question for you. So, my question for you is how do you envision Skellig evolving over the next 5 years?
Over the next 5 years, I'm very privileged to be in this position. I get to do a job I love. And the specifics of what I love about it are the seeing engineers come together to solve a challenge, and building an engineering team that's better at telling the truth, that's better at solving the problem, that's better at collaborating. It's it's pretty fun to get to work on that. So What I hope I'm doing in 5 years is still some version of that. What I hope Skellig's doing is solving bigger challenges, going deeper into life sciences. I would love to see us, doing more on that personalized medicine side of the industry. I'd love to see us doing more to rationalize some of the costs and some of the data silos that we see in legacy pharmaceutical facilities and unlock a lot of that potential with digital transformation. So what I hope for Skellig is that over the next 3 5 years, we're really showing up for the industry as engineers that aren't just like consultants here to collect the check, and we're not really married to the outcome, but
Yeah.
we're moving away from that traditional model of, well, it's a project and it's can be very chaotic at times, and moving to more of a productization of the factory. That's where I want to see Skellig go. Like, can we take responsibility for an outcome, and can we apply engineering minds like yourself to a problem that you can compound your learning project to project rather than hitting the reset button and being like, well, we're back to the start and we're doing a bioreactor again, but this one's special. We're just not compounding or learning as fast as I'd love to see us as an industry. And I really hope that Skelly can move maybe towards more productization. And that's where we're trying to go, doing more to show, especially when it comes to the 4.0. We're trying to do a lot now behind the scenes to prep for how do we show up for clients, and when they're looking at these new technologies and it's, all these cool tools that can solve cool problems, but is it coherent? Is there a collection of choices that we could help a client make that could really save them from all the risk and exposure and confusion that they might be facing around, my God, do I have to become an expert on all these new things in order to adapt and gain the insights and benefits from them? So where I want Skellig to be is much better at helping clients with that sort of
Mm.
stuff. And I think that's going to be the shift that we've started internally, which hopefully will continue and compound towards productization. How do we take responsibility for something? How do we support these clients? And if they've got Skellig as a partner, then they know they can trust X, Y, and Z will be done to a certain level of quality, and they can hold us accountable for that. And that's at least that portion of their day taken care of, and they can move on to different challenges within their organization. Because I see a lot of potential to adapt 4.0 and open technologies, but I also think clients are looking at it, especially in life sciences, with a lot of confusion and trepidation around the risk of bringing in these technologies and making them work together in a coherent fashion. So I think that's the big, meaty, most helpful thing we could do technically right now. And I hope that in 5 years from now, Skellig is well positioned, helping clients do that, and hopefully maybe even setting an example for other integrators to say, oh, okay, that's what clients find valuable right now. Let's shift to this model, because the existing model of being like a lawyer billing hours, I don't think it's going to serve us very well in the longer run. So that's what I'm hoping we can shift to. I love learning more about life sciences and trying to figure out how to be helpful and going deeper into life sciences. In 5 years, I really hope we're Skellig's helping to manufacture as well. That's where I want us to be. I want us to be, because as consultants and as engineers, we're always working on someone else's projects. As we productize, I think taking responsibility, standing over. So I think there's going to be a lot of learnings along the way. And I think that there'll be a lot of joy and progress to be found if we can kind of take that responsibility for ourselves and show the world what's possible. That's what I'm driving towards as well for Skellig. So hopefully
Okay.
we can pull it
That's
off.
definitely really ambitious. And from what you're saying, it's something we could achieve in, within the next 5 years, at least get started on.
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, no, absolutely. Everything on the macro can be boiled down to actions in the micro. And I think small actions like taking responsibility and learning. There's a Steve Jobs quote where he talks about in this MIT talk he did, and he talks about like, oh, consultants, they're a variable cost. And they are. And
Yeah.
he also talks about a lot of consultants, they like to approach things like, well, I've worked in apples and bananas and peaches. Oh, I know all these industries. I'm quite the expert. But they've never often gone really deep into one aspect of it. So they don't really know peaches. They haven't lived with the consequences of their recommendations a lot. As Skellig evolves to one of the things that like we've been keeping in mind since the beginning is, if an engineer is on site a lot, but they're not exposed to designing on upfront projects, can we get that engineer more capital project experience or upfront experience designing? But then the ideal rounded out engineer is the engineer that has the ability to design, to conceptualize something cool, and then to follow it all the way through and live with the consequences of their
Yeah.
design choices. You can code something really well, and the code works beautiful, but then the operator is like, what the hell, this
Yep.
this phase is on hold, and there's no message here to tell me why this damn thing's on hold. Now I
Yeah.
gotta call the control room. So it was great code up front, but then if it doesn't do a good job of keeping the end user in mind, then where's the barometer for success? That's my long-winded answer. But good
No, well
question, and
said.
thanks
I
for asking.
appreciate the level of detail. Honestly, that was a good response.
All right, well, I guess if there's not anything else, I'll ask people to like and subscribe, comment down below if you have anything to say. And yeah, thank you so much, Darlington, for doing this. And we'll see you guys in the next one.
Well, thanks for having me. Thanks, Paul.
Thanks for being here.